Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire potential briefing for Thursday, June 25th. And let's switch over to the main summary. A very active pattern, multiple days of critical fire weather conditions, another round of lightning high risk today in addition to the tons of lightning we got yesterday in some areas. Most of the lightning will be in the southern and eastern areas, but it's going to be followed by several days of widespread strong winds. Also cooler air pushing in from the north Friday and covering much of the Great Basin, especially the central and eastern areas into the weekend. But I think just about everyone's going to see significant cool down. That is good news because most fuels are critical, 90th to 97th percentiles, and several of our existing fires are showing extreme fire behavior. Impact map is quite extreme as well. Another round of mixed dry and wet lightning for at least half of the region. We have high risk in effect. Some of the lightning in western Utah and eastern Nevada is overlapping with strong critical winds of 30 miles an hour, not to mention the outflow boundaries with these storms. So some will have some wetness, some not. There'll be some wind with some of it, and then a very strong cold front pushing in Friday and Saturday, a big 20-degree cool down, maybe 30-degree cool down in some areas in the north, but it's going to be a fine line where the warmer, drier air remains and the winds very strong, gusting to 45, maybe 50 miles an hour, where you see the areas in the brown, and unfortunately that's in areas of current large fires. Things have cleared out pretty well across the western and central Great Basin, and even the eastern areas. There'll be some sun today, but there's more moisture. You see that front up in the north. Lots of lightning yesterday. You can see on the right-hand side across the region. And it was a mix of wet. I would probably say 60% wet, 40% somewhat drier, but with the windy, dry conditions, it's going to be a big problem. Not much precip in many areas the 7 days before that. Very active day. A lot of new initial attack, new fire starts in the red. Recent fires in yellow. Open circles indicate current incidents. Looking at the drought monitor, part of the story of how dry it's been over the winter and into the spring, about 2/3 of the area is in severe to extreme drought, with even exceptional drought up in southwest Idaho. Our ERC point map shows a lot of the areas, 90th to 97th percentile, critical fuels. That's even reached up. We see some oranges of the 90th percentile to 97th, even getting up into the Idaho mountains. A little more moist in Wyoming, drying out pretty good up in the Sierra as well. Want to advise you, we have our fuels. We had our fuels briefing. We actually created a 5-minute video that tells you in detail about the current fuels. We have a fuels call with our fuels specialists every Wednesday. So if you go to our Great Basin homepage and you click on the fuels and fire danger, it'll kind of take you to this window, and you scroll down just a little bit, and there's Gina Palma, and you click the play button. You get everything you need to know about fuels and then some. Otherwise, we're looking today at a very critical pattern. Trough with a dry punch of windy air. We see this tannish shade in these upper level winds. You see the cold front up in the Pacific Northwest. High risk for lightning, where you see the red. High risk for wind, where you see the orange, gusts over 30 miles an hour, and there'll be a little bit of an in-between overlap with some of these regions. Friday and Saturday, widespread winds as a strong cold front barrels in. There'll be some clouds and precip around. You can see it on the pattern here. Then a deep low comes in, a big cool down. See all the areas of yellow and green up in the north. Let's do a deeper dive and see today the outflow boundaries from thunderstorms. You see the winds here and along the Utah-Nevada border, and the humidity a little higher in Utah from some of the light showers with lightning that occurred, but you see it dries out very quickly Friday and Saturday into that 8 to 14% range. And that's where those very strong winds, some of these winds could be 40, 50 miles an hour, especially on Saturday in southern areas. You can almost tell where the front is. That's our big concern, but still moderately windy, maybe 30 to 40 miles an hour, even here across much of Nevada. So very extreme pattern. Sharp cool down, 25 to 30 degrees in the north, maybe a 10-degree cool down in the south between now and Saturday. And you see the precipitation, widespread lightning, and mostly light precipitation in light green, but there'll be some heavier pockets, some of the higher terrain. Then where that front comes through, some good wetting rains, mostly in Idaho and Wyoming, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch in a lot of areas. And that cool low is going to sit over us Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We still have some that dry wedge of winds and high risk on Sunday. And then we cool down Monday and Tuesday, still staying breezy. Fuels start to dry out a little bit in early next week. Looking at the winds and humidity, you can still see some breezy conditions Sunday and low humidity, and the same thing on Monday. We'll have to watch any areas that got lightning through here. Winds not as strong, but still strong enough to bring out holdovers. Precipitation starts to wane during this period, and this sums it all up. 7 days, big time lightning high risk again today. And then the winds will pick up any holdovers that could be picked up in the next 3 days. And these winds could be very strong, gusting near 50 in some spots. And then we'll see what's left with us as we cool down, quiet down a little bit for next week. The outlook for the 6 to 10 day, cooler than normal, but also drier than normal. That's going to be a problem with the recent fires and lightning that we have here. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.